Hello everyone and welcome back. So today I'm going to take you guys through my favorite makeup for 2018. I was going to include my least favorite makeup, but I filmed that entire video in one segment yesterday and it took like an hour and a half. So I'm only going to do my favorite makeup in this video and I'll be wearing the same thing. I will do my least favorite makeup in another video. So please keep an eye out for that because this is the first year I've actually thought about the bad makeup, but yeah, it'll be in a separate video. I don't have enough makeup in order to create an entire affordable makeup and then an entire high-end makeup favorites because I didn't try that much new makeup this year. Last year, 2017 I tried a lot more new ones. That's because I was working, but also this year 2017 I was just using every product I bought, but for 2018 I collected them. So if I had used I've got an entire basket just full of stuff I haven't used that I can use in first impressions or things like that. So if I had tried all of those I probably would have a lot more favorites, but I haven't. So I narrowed it down to my absolute favorite stuff. So there's a couple of things here that I have been using off camera. There's a couple of things I was using on camera. You probably can guess what my absolute favorite things are by my constant use of them, but in no particular order, I'm going to show you my favorite stuff. This was one of the biggest surprises this year and also one of the most big letdowns as well. This is the Colourpop No Filter Concealer. The one I have currently is in the shade Fair 2. This shade is okay for mixing. I cannot use this on its own even when I am flat out fair. I've got quite a bit of a tan at the moment, so I actually need a much darker shade, but I do use this to mix in with other concealers to make it lighter. However, this was such a disappointment because it looks so bad under my eyes. Under my eyes, particularly where the very bad darkness is so bad. I've got chicken skin where my under eye circles are, and it is so textured and lumpy and bumpy that any concealer looks really bad. I have yet to use a concealer that looks nice. It can look okay, but then when I set it, it looks absolutely terrible. That is the one thing I struggled in 2018, was trying to get my concealer to look nice. I've tried matte ones, I've tried dewy ones, I've tried them all, and it does not look nice. This is probably one of the worst looking concealers under my eyes, which is pretty disappointing because this is so affordable. And it comes in so many shades, and it was matte, so I didn't even really need to set it, but it just looks so dry on its own. It looks so textured, and because the lumps under my eyes are getting bigger, it's almost like the concealer adheres to the top of the lump but not in between them, so my concealer doesn't look like it's as full coverage as what it's supposed to be. If anyone has any recommendations for something I can use under my eyes to get rid of that extreme texture, please let me know. I've tried my face masks, I've tried different eye creams, I've tried so many different things. I thought it was an allergic response to something, so I don't know what it is, but it's really annoying. My makeup will look perfect and then under my eyes will just look dry and horrible, and in my inner corner looks really bad, and it's even starting to go on my lid. But however, this concealer I can use as an eyeshadow primer. I have never been able to use a actual concealer as an eyeshadow primer. I will put them on my eye, blend it out, set it, and it will feel just like a normal eye primer, but my eyeshadows will not blend. I cannot blend eyeshadow on my eyes if I use a concealer as an eye primer, and it does not last either. So the eyeshadow will wear off and it will crease and go really oily and gross within 2 hours. So I cannot use concealer as an eye primer until I tried this. This is amazing as an eye primer, so basically this is what I'm using it for now. I actually have it on today because I did an all affordable look. I did film this look, except I was wearing a nude lip, so if that's up before this I will link it down below. If not, it is coming soon, so keep an eye out for that. But yes, this is basically the next best thing apart from my MAC soft ochre paint pot. So if for some reason I lose my paint pot, or if when I go to repurchase it, if I can't afford it or something, this is my next alternative. I really like the fact that they do go super pale, because I really like the really pale primer, because then I don't need to put as much powder on my inner corner and my brow bone to make it more highlighted. So I do really like this as an eye primer. I just hate it as a concealer. This is one of the products I was talking about that I said I was using off camera. I have used it in one, maybe two makeup tutorials. I know I used it in my New Year's Eve look, which I will link down below, but it is the Maybelline Hyper Glossy Liquid Eyeliner. I bought this because I was watching ShanXO, her videos from like 2012 to 2015. I was watching those, and she used the Maybelline Hyper Glossy Eyeliner all the time. And so I decided to pick it up one day when it was on, like, Maybelline was on like half price somewhere. And I have to say, I think this is my new favorite eyeliner. I know, I'm slowly replacing my designer brand's eyeliner. They are slightly different though. This one, I can get such a super thin wing, super sharp. The brush on this is so unbelievably tiny. It's like insane. It's the first liquid eyeliner that's like the pot and the brush that I've actually been able to use. All of the others are just, they either burn my eyes or whatever, but this is super black. It doesn't smudge, it stays all day. It's not even that glossy. Not that I care, I actually like a glossy eyeliner, which is why I bought this, but it's not that glossy. But it's super black, super easy to use. It stays on all day, but it also removes fairly easy. The only thing I don't like about this is it does like bleed into my lashes, so then my mascara will like clump together a bit, but that's just what these type of liquid eyeliners do. But I really like it. The only thing is, it is also, because the brush is so tiny, it's a bit difficult to fill in my wing, but other than that, this is like perfect. I believe this was in my 2017 favorites, but I actually deliberately have not watched that video. But my favorite liquid lipstick I've ever used is the Dose of Colors one in Sand. I've got about 4 or 5 others, and I absolutely love this formula. This, I'd have to say, is my favorite formula of matte liquid lipsticks that I've ever tried so far. I really like it. This is a much like cooler toned on me liquid lipstick, but it is so comfortable. It is super opaque. It is just, it dries down, but it's not too dry. It's very comfortable. I can wear this and like talk all day. It is really nice. I love the color. Because it's cooler toned, I really like mixing it with other liquid lipsticks or putting a gloss over the top. I really don't like having a really like warm tone nude. I prefer the slightly cooler tones, and this is just perfect formula. It's so smooth. I get a perfect lip line, like perfect lip look every time I wear this, and it's honestly like starting to run out, and I'm dreading the day I have to repurchase it because I just cannot live without it. I'm 99% sure this product was also in my 2017 favorites, but it's in my 2018 favorites because I actually had to repurchase it. It is the NYX Butter Gloss in the color Madeline. It's number 14, and I have never used up a lip gloss and then repurchased it. I've used up about another 2 or 3 that I've owned over the years, but I've never actually had to used one up and had to repurchase it until this one. So I bought this in the Priceline 40% off sale that was in like November or something like that. So that's why this is in this video. I was using it all year round. I wore this lip gloss to my year 10 and my year 12 formals. That's how much I absolutely love it. I find this color can mix and like fix any single type of lip product. It can fix any nude color to make it just look perfect. And I've also got the color Fortune Cookie here. This I really like to mix in with this one when I need to make or want to make a super pale nude. I hate using this on its own because it's way too like peachy for me to want to use on its own. But if I want a super nude look, because this is quite dark, so if I want a super nude look, I actually mix both of these together, either just over a lip liner or over a lipstick. Sometimes this is a little bit too dark for what I want, so I mix a tiny bit of this in, and I find that mixing these two together makes like that perfect Nude, and they're both an amazing formula. I love the scent, I love the texture. They're pigmented, but they're not like too pigmented. They stay for a fairly long time, and I don't know if they've lowered the price of them, but these are still only $10 each, or at the moment I saw them down to $6, which if they're down to $6, that's even better. But I really like these. I've got another 2 or 3 colors, and I'm slowly starting to collect them because I think these are my favorite lip gloss formulas ever. Oh no, my lipstick is like... I'm gonna have to take my lipstick off, it's melting. Please excuse my lips, but now I have partially fixed that disaster. I can move on to the next few products. I've discovered pretty much my 2 favorite eyeshadow palettes ever. I use these all the time, on camera, off camera. I actually used one of the palettes today, and it's really made me want to buy more of them, and it is the Colourpop palettes that I bought. I got these with my birthday money. So the first one is the Zodiac palette. Both of these are the Kathleen Lights collaborations. So I'm going to cover up the mirror, but this is what this one looks like, and I am in love with this palette. The only shade I don't use is the Capricorn. I do not like using black shades that have a bit of glitter. If it had like 3 times the amount of glitter that was in there, I probably would, but to me it just comes off as like a matte black. So when I've got a really metallic shade on my lid, I may use that as like smudgy eyeliner. Other than that, I pretty much don't use that color. And my second least favorite color is the Taurus. It looks like a nice like mustard brown, but it comes off so orange, like dark pumpkin yellowy orange on me. It's really nice, but if I'm just using this palette, that color is too cool toned to mix in with that one. To me it looks funny on my eyes, so I always end up mixing and matching both palettes together. However, the formulas are fantastic. They are super pigmented, they are super creamy, the metallic shades are amazing. I love the Gemini shade there. I've used the Aquarius in a look as well before. I've used all of these shades one way or another, pretty much except for the Pisces. I've played around with it but haven't flat out used it. I did the Leo as my like staple color for my family's Christmas party look this year. It was absolutely amazing. And the other one is the Dream Street palette. This is more of a day-to-day wear look for me, but I've got this palette on today, so the colors and everything will be listed down below. I will list the makeup that I'm wearing, but the tutorial that I have is, as I said, either going to be up. If it's up, it'll be down below. If not, it'll be coming. But this is slightly more of a day-to-day wear. I prefer using this shade, which is Shooting Star, as my transition shade rather than using the Taurus shade or whatever it is in the Zodiac palette. The only shades I haven't really used in this one is the Water Bearer, Kaleidoscope, and Mermaid Boy. I haven't really used them as much just because I've done so many blue looks lately on myself and also just in real life. But the color Spark is like amazing. My favorite look to do with this palette is to use Magical as like a little bit of a transition shade. Pretty much use Spark all through my crease and build it up till it's like super intense. Maybe darken it with a bit of Potion, and then I will use Sweet Dreams on my lid, and that's like the most beautiful look ever. But the colors in here are super pigmented, super amazing, super blendable. The palettes are like small, but they're also big enough that like it feels like I'm using a big palette type of thing. Super luxurious, and like the formula of these is better than some of my high-end palettes. I can't remember if this was in my 2017 favorites, but I know it was in a couple of my like least favorite products list for a few months in a row until I figured out how to properly use it. So this has been the biggest like turnaround product that I've had. I loved it when I first got it, and then I hated it, and then now all of a sudden I love it again, and it is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. This one is in the shade 110. It's actually nearly empty. At the moment I have to mix this in with one of my darker foundations in order to make it match me, but I did actually repurchase this in a darker shade. It's 1 or 2 shades down so it can match me when I'm tan, because I have quite a natural tan at the moment. I've got my Rimmel foundation on at the moment, and it's like way too dark on me when I'm fair, and it's like almost too light on me right now, which is amazing to me. But this foundation, I love it. It is the most smooth, apart from Estee Lauder Double Wear. This is like the most smooth matte foundation I've ever used in my life. It looks so like perfect. My face almost looks like it is porcelain doll type of thing. It's full coverage on me unless I sheer it out, but it's pretty much full coverage on me. And now that I am starting to bake, it lasts all day. If I do not bake, this foundation lasts maybe 3 hours if I'm lucky. That's how super disgustingly oily I am. But when I bake, this lasts all day. It looks gorgeous all day, and it's one of those foundations that whether I bake or whether I just use pressed powder, it looks nice. Like, it doesn't look too heavy. I find I can put more and more of this on. It doesn't look too heavy. It's just really, really nice. This is my favorite everyday foundation. For those of you that are in Australia, makeup is super expensive. I buy my Maybelline products and things like that at Kmart. Kmart is the cheapest place in store that I have found. Kmart doesn't always carry every single shade of these though. Priceline is the one that will carry every single shade, but if you are looking for needing to repurchase yours and it is not on sale anywhere, go to Kmart. It's $15 at Kmart, where it's like $23 something at Priceline. So I buy mine at Kmart unless Priceline's having their sale. So that's where I get mine, but this is just amazing and I love it. I can anytime I use this, I can guarantee it'll look perfect. I've had this product for a few years, or a year or so, whatever, I can't remember. And I use it in nearly every video, so I can't not put it in this video. You guys would know this is probably my favorite highlighter ever. It's my Anastasia Starlight highlighter. Surprisingly, I am not wearing this today because at the moment it's actually way too pale for me because it looks like straight up silver on my face. It's too like ashy color, but this is my favorite. I can guarantee it'll look perfect on my face no matter what foundation I'm wearing, no matter what look I'm going for. I can make it have that perfect like soft glow from within look, or I can have it like super strobing. It's really, really nice. The pattern has pretty much all worn off. I just swirl my brush around, tap it off a little bit, and it's white with like a greeny gold tint to it. I absolutely love it. It's perfect, and I am going to be so absolutely broken if this like shatters or something, but this is like my baby and I'm pretty sure I'll put this in every single video. I didn't want to put my older products in this video, but I couldn't not put this in here. For a good portion of the year, my absolute favorite blushes I was obsessed with was my Hourglass ones. These again are slightly older products, but they are amazing. So my absolute favorite, I have Incandescent, I have Dim Infusion, and I have Diffused Heat. My absolute favorite one is Diffused Heat. It is just absolutely gorgeous. This is the one I was flat out obsessed with. I swirl my brush mainly in that big pink patch. It's got that like purple mauvey tone to it that looks amazing on me. I think anything that's like purple tones looks really nice because purple goes well with my eyes, my skin, and my hair. So I think purple was just really nice, but I was so obsessed with this. I took this, like, I've got blushes and things at my dad's in my makeup, but I was even taking this with me to my dad's. I was using this every time I did my makeup, pretty much for the like majority of the first half of the year. If I had filmed things with a different blush, it was just so I could film it, a look with something different. On camera, I was deliberately using products that were different, but this was like the best thing ever. And if I wasn't using that one, I was using either one of these two. So I've got Dim Infusion, which is just super, super soft, like pale pink. This one pretty much only works on me when I am fair. I find it looks a little bit too bubblegum pink if I try to use it now. And the other one is Incandescent, which is like flat out. The other one's Incandescent, which is like flat out peachy coral, which this one works when I'm fair or not because this one's like brighter, but I swirl my brush in this side and it's just as good. But they last all day, super soft, or not soft, but like soft glow, beautiful color, amazing. As I mentioned earlier, I have been baking, and I originally started off with using baby powder, and that was really bad. You shouldn't do that. It wasn't for my face, it was bad for my lungs. Like, I inhaled it and then it caused a really horrendous bad cough, and it was just not good. So I went on to Wish and I bought the Hyosun like translucent powder. This does come in other colors. It came in like a banana color, a very dark shade, and then like your skin tone colors, but I just bought shade number 1 because it's like practically white. Because I've tried and tried and tried to find powders, like loose ones that are affordable, that I like for baking, and they're either too expensive, they're either the wrong color, or they are way too finely milled. So my favorite loose powder is the Australis Ready Set Go, but it is just way too fine to be a baking powder. It's like a setting powder, and I know a lot of people would be like, oh, you got to be careful, the Wish powder is probably baby powder as well, but I can tell you right now, it's not. From my body's reaction, it is not. This is just what it looks like. I've used about a third to half of it, but I just take the little thing out, dip my sponge in, press it on my face to where I need it, and it's good to go from there. I bought a different brand to try. It looks like it's in a little Ben Nye packet, but it's not. But I might just keep this container later on to use it because the other one's a bit confusing. But this works perfectly fine. This is the first powder I've ever bought just to bake with, so I wouldn't know if there's anything better out there, but this still works totally fine. It mattifies my skin, my makeup lasts so much longer, and it just looks better throughout the day. Instead of it going like super thick and like greasy looking, it just still stays looking light and fresh. And I find that this works with any of my other foundations that I own. Works with my Dermacol, works with dewy ones, works with matte ones, works with nearly anything. And because I don't always need to bake my face when I'm wearing makeup, so I don't even bake with this every time. So it's not like every time I wear makeup I bake, only when I want it to really last. So like if I was going to TAFE or if I was going to work, then I'd bake, but other than that I don't really. So this will still probably last me quite a while, but it's really nice. This again is an older product. I've had it for like nearly 4 years I think, and it is the Kat Von D Shade Light Matte Eye Palette. The reason why I'm putting this in here is because this is still my most used palette of the year. I absolutely love this. I actually hit pan on this shade. The two like neutraler shades here. This neutral one is the one I use the most. The one I use the least is actually the warm tones one, because I'm not super into warm tones, but if I am, I prefer like orangey bronzy rather than these colors. But I still use this palette all the time. Like this white's got a massive dent in it, as does the matte white. The black I use all the time for like smudging eyeliner. This grey shade has got like a big indent in it, as does the orange shade here. Like I love all the shades in here. This is really nice. I'm starting to think and feel like, yes, it's getting a bit old, it's getting a bit more powdery, because my eyeshadows, like my Colourpop ones, are more creamy. And they're more, I don't want to say they're more pigmented, but they're just more creamy and things like that, whereas these are a bit more powdery. But this is still my most used palette. Anytime I use this, I can guarantee I like the look that I do. I mix and match all the shades together and it just works. It's got a shade, so for example, that one I used to set my eye primer. That one mixed with the white goes on my inner corner, and then I've got like this I can use as a eyeliner, and the rest of my shades can be transition ones slash outer corner, things like that. So I love this palette. This probably on camera and off camera was one of my favorites. I will still continue to use it. This has nothing to do with her anti-vaccination thing, but I'm not really that excited about Kat Von D stuff anymore, and the fact that this was $65 is the reason why I'm still using this. But I honestly think that maybe next Christmas, if I haven't used it up, it might be time to retire it, because I think by then it'll be very powdery and things like that. But it's still my favorite palette ever. This year was also a year I tried out glitter, and not pressed glitter, not loose glitter. I didn't want to have to mess with all of that. I was going to buy some of the Stila. They had like the mini ones, the mini Magnificent Metal eyeshadow things, but every time I went to get one of the sets or any of the sets, they were sold out. And then they were a online exclusive, and then I went to get it online and they just basically, I think they turned them limited edition and then they left. So then I was going to get the Urban Decay glitter eyeliners, and one day I was scrolling through Wish and found Wish has glitter eyeliners as well. So these are the glitters I have been using. I've got 6 out of the 10 shades that are in this range. This is the Handiyan brand, so I got 6 out of the 10, and there is another brand that's got other colors as well. So there's a pink, there's a purple, I believe there's another gold, and I can't remember, I think the other one's another blue that I'm missing. But so far all 6 of these have been the same formula. They do take quite a while to dry down, but once they do not budge. So I don't get the glitter falling down my face, I don't get it in my eye. It's very simple really. All I do is I unscrew the lid, pull the brush out, brush it onto where I need it. I do one eye at a time because they take so long to dry. Sometimes I do double, triple layers, then it feels very heavy, but it's worth it. But I really love these. I use these in my New Year's Eve look. I use the gold, the orange and the red. I've used the silver before in many videos. I use the green. I think the blue one is the only one I haven't used in a video, but I have used it. These are just amazing. They are like the best invention ever, and I can't wait to buy more colors and things like that. I definitely think these are like a really good idea. I found my favorite brow gel this year. Even though I'm not that into brow gels, I don't think it makes much of a difference. The only reason why I use this one is because I bought it thinking it was a mascara and found it was a brow gel, and my mum does not do anything with her eyebrows. In fact, she doesn't listen to how to do her makeup properly anyway. But this is the Australis Hold Them Up Brow Taming Pomade. I've been using this for months. Probably should have thrown it out by now, but it still works totally fine. It says it was a brow taming pomade, so I didn't know if it was a brush that was like colored or what, because it didn't say anything. It just came with this wrapped in plastic. So it's just, you use it like a normal brow gel. So I grab it, I brush it through my brows, and it just sticks the hairs down and makes them look absolutely amazing. It dries down matte or more matte, so it doesn't have that glossy finish. The e.l.f. brow gel that I love has that like super glossy finish and it almost looks fake, but this also makes my hairs feel super soft while still holding them in place, so they still feel like my brows are fluffy and really like, I don't know, hairy, but it still holds it in place. So this is like more of a white matte pomade type of product, but I freaking love it. It works so well. Now that my eyebrow hairs have been growing out, they have been getting quite long, so I do need to stick them down. This just works super well, and Australis is a really nice brand. I actually really like it. This year was not the year for primers. However, my favorite one that I have been using is the Laura Mercier oil-free one. I mainly only use primers pretty much in the winter because I just need to add some moisture or keep my foundation looking a little bit nicer. In the summer, I don't use primers pretty much at all. I have primers, but I don't really think they do much of a difference. However, this one really made a really big difference in the winter. It kind of just plumped my skin back up and added some extra hydration because I was baking, and I found that once my skin really dried out this winter, which it never has before. This was the first winter where I got really, like, considered really dry for me, and so this primer just like added the moisture back and things like that that I really needed. Plus it had almost that kind of tacky base that allowed my foundation to adhere to it. So this basically allowed me to be able to bake while my skin was drier, if that makes any sense at all. So it's really nice. It's in a super big tube. I've still got a heap left because I really just use a tiny amount, but it's really nice. This was not the year for lip products. I basically did not wear lip products unless I was filming. That was it. Like, I would do my makeup in the morning and not even bother with like any sort of lip products. So there was only like 1 or 2 products I actually tried. Pardon me. However, I still had a couple of favorites. So one of my all-time favorites is the NYX Liquid Suede in Soft Spoken. Now it does come out looking quite a little bit lighter than what the tube looks like, but I find this is like perfect. It's that like grown-up nude, but it looks sophisticated. I find I just feel so girly but also grown up and like sophisticated and, you know, like smart. Like when I wear this color, it's almost like I can take on the world. I know what I'm doing. I feel super like confident wearing it for some reason. I don't know why. This color is just amazing. I absolutely love it. It's like this rosy toned brown. The formula is also quite nice. It doesn't last all day. It does start to like come really wet again in the center of my mouth. The more I talk and the more I eat and things like that. I cannot eat with these on because they do smudge. They do not dry down completely on my lips. However, if I'm just wearing it for a little bit, or I know I'm not going to be eating or things like that, it is just perfect. If I was going on a job interview or an important meeting, this would be the color I'd wear. Year, or 2018, I actually found my favorite eyeliner pencil. My Rimmel one is still amazing, however, it's like dried out and it's crumbly, and I'm only like less than halfway through the pencil, but every time I sharpen it, it works for like 2-3 days, and then after that it's back to being dry and crumbly. So I think it's time to retire it. However, I went on to Wish again and I found the Davis brand. I have been using this for a few months now, I believe. It's the waterproof lip and eyeliner pencil, because these do come in other colors other than just black and brown. It comes in like red and green and other colors that you could use on your lips as well. It comes in a 2-pack because the idea for it really is you can use one as an eyeliner and one as a lip liner, and they're super cheap, which I like. But this is super creamy, like I mean super creamy, super black. Like that's just one stripe. It draws on perfectly. It's nice and soft. It doesn't crumble. It sharpens very nicely. It doesn't stay on as long as what my Rimmel one did, so I do kind of have to take this with me and touch it up if I wear it, but I'm willing to put that aside if the pencil's really nice, and it draws on nicely. It's also really nice to draw like on my upper lashes to smudge it out. It's just really nice. So I want to try the other colors because they've got about 7 or 8 other colors it comes in. I really want to try it because I love using colored eyeliners, but most of mine I've had for years. They've all dried up and I really just need other ones. But the fact it comes in a 2-pack for like $3 as well is amazing. The pencil also feels really good quality. The lids haven't cracked. The writing hasn't even come off. I was super impressed. I dove into the bright colors of eyeshadow a lot more this year than I have in previous years. This year I didn't really care about, you know, being told, oh, that doesn't suit you. Like, I just didn't care. I wanted to do the bright colors. So when I was looking on Wish, I came across the Box of Crayons eyeshadow palette. I 100% take into account this is a fake. I know it's not the actual palette and things like that. However, I could not get my hands on the actual Box of Crayons palette, so when I found this on Wish, I thought, well, what could go wrong? It was only fairly cheap. I think I paid $15 for it. It was fairly cheap, and I thought, well, it can't hurt. So, opening it up, it looks pretty much exactly the same as what the other palette does, but the colors, the matte shades are super like creamy. Not as creamy as Colourpop, but they're up there. The shades blend out beautifully. The colors look super nice, really nice. The metallic shades or the shimmery shades are like that metallic wet look. I always use like a Maybelline color tattoo underneath, except for today. Underneath any sort of shimmery eyeshadow, because it just makes it look so much more intense. But these, even over the top of those, intensify even more. They are beautiful. The only colors in here I haven't really used is the orange and the baby blue. Other than that, I've used every shade in here one way or another, and I am just really impressed. Even if I decided to travel with this, I can still do a relatively neutral look. This lime green shade I can actually use to set my eye primer. It doesn't come off that green, it looks more white. So I could use that to set my primer. I can use a bit of tan in the crease, a bit of black as some smudged eyeliner, and there we go, I've got an everyday look. If I want to warm it up, add a tiny bit of red. If I want to cool it down, add some purple, deep plum. This brown comes off more like a really dark magenta shade, but it's beautiful. But I'm just really impressed with this, considering it is a Wish palette. But then again, every palette I've bought off Wish, I actually really like. Those Pop Feel ones are incredible. And I 100% take into account this is a fake, but I love it. And I haven't even touched any of my other bright coloured eyeshadows since I got this, because this is the only bright colour palette I've been using. In my opinion, I would probably have taken out lime green and put a matte orange in here if it was up to me. That's what I would do, just because I know everyone likes orange, but I can't help what the palette comes with. Apart from the Hourglass blushes, the other one that I've been absolutely obsessed with and pretty much have used it since I bought it is the Colourpop blush in Holiday. This is the Super Shock formula, and this is the only Super Shock product I own. My other things are all concealers, lip products and things like that. But the second I saw this online, I thought, I love the colour. That colour is just me. It is summer, it's bright, it's more of a matte. It's not flat out matte, it's got like a satin sheen to it. The colour is gorgeous. I'm actually wearing it right now, just a very little bit. I want it to be a bit more bronzed, but I freaking love this. I thought the texture with it being slightly more creamy, it would go a bit funny over the top of my makeup, things like that, but I mean more over my foundation. Like, I even have trouble sometimes blending bronzer because it lifts up my foundation, so I thought this would probably do the same thing, but it doesn't. It blends so nicely on my face. I can actually build it up so I can make it look like that really pale flushed colour, or I can build it up to be quite intense depending on the look that I'm wearing. The colour is also, the reason why I bought this one as well, not only was the colour nice, but it also wasn't too pale to where I can only use it when I'm fair. I can build this up and use it when I'm more tanned. It's just beautiful. I don't know if I will like the Super Shock formula in the highlighters, but the blushes I definitely want more. This is another product I actually have been using off camera. Yeah, just off camera. I don't think I've used this on camera at all. And it is the Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions. I actually bought this with some of my Christmas money for 2017, but I had this sitting in my new product drawer for months. And because it was so expensive, I didn't want to use it, because I was like, once I open it, I'm going to want to use it, and then I'll use it up and then I'll have to rebuy it again. But I bought the mauve one. I was looking at all the different colours, and I bought the mauve one just because I don't really have many shades like this. I do admit I mostly bought this palette for the reddy shade and the purple that are here, but these are beautiful. The shades blend effortlessly. They are super pigmented. This shade here is actually pale enough I can use it to set my eye primer. I don't think it's quite pale enough for me to use on my inner corner and things like that, but I can use it to set my eye primer, which is fine because I mostly use my highlighter on my inner corner. But all the shades in here are just absolutely gorgeous. The only one I haven't really used is this cooler tone shade in the middle. Other than that, I've used all of these in one way or another. This pink is gorgeous, as is the like rosy gold color there. But I just really like it. And again, if I was traveling with this, I could make a very simple look. I could put this on all over my lid, tiny bit of this in the crease, possibly use that for some eyeliner, and there we go, my look is done. So I mean, the palette's really small, the mirror's nice. I am super impressed. I actually went and bought, even before I tried this, I went and bought the Coral one, the Coral Obsessions. Someone on a buy swap and sell group was selling it brand new because she bought two, one for herself and one for her friend, and she didn't realize her friend already had it, so she was selling it for like $20. So I went and got it, and I really want to try it now that this one is so amazing. But every time I use this, I get like the most perfect look with it. Apart from my Anastasia highlighter, my next most used one was my Champagne Pop. This is the colour that I use when I'm more deeply tan because it is too dark for me to use when I'm fair. It just gives me like an orangey stripe when I look straight ahead. When I'm fair, I'll use this on my brow bone. I will use this as an eyeshadow shade. This is the most gorgeous like champagne-y gold on my lids. I think it's amazing. It makes my eyes look so beautiful. But I absolutely love this. Again, these are $80, so I mean they're definitely an investment, but I like the Becca ones. I love mixing Starlight and Champagne Pop together. I will mix Pearl with Champagne Pop as well, but I like using Starlight a bit more because it's got that goldy undertone. But this is the other one that I use. I use it as an eyeshadow all the time. Even though I look like I barely dented it, I use it so much and I just absolutely adore this and cannot get enough of it. When I'm not baking, I do use just a normal pressed powder, and my all-time favourite now is the Rimmel Stay Matte, which again, like the Maybelline Matte and Poreless, is very weird because I hated this for so long because it makes my foundation oxidize and it just made it look so horrible. But now I figured out what to do. Now I figured out that I actually like my foundation a tad darker, although today I did not realize my foundation's actually pretty much too pale. This is my new one. My old one is looking so ratty and gross. I actually bought my new one for the video. I just buy the shade 001 transparent because the other shades are all way too like pink. But this is amazing. It makes my face have that like matte airbrushed look, and it goes super smooth. Like I can have all the texture on my chin from all my scars. It can smooth that over. I can have gross like texture in my crevices on my nose. It smooths that over. It smooths over my forehead. I find it even stops like my makeup creasing as bad. Like it mainly goes in that crease in my forehead. I really like it. Plus, it's a heavier powder, so it keeps me matte for slightly longer and things like that as well. But it's just really nice. This is my favourite pressed powder now. This is the only other lip product that I absolutely love, and this one is one that I actually tried this year. It's the Maybelline Matte lipstick in Purely Nude, and it looks super intensely pale, and it's like that real peachy tone. I apologize for my burp just then, but it is like that real peachy tone, but it is just really nice. This is the first like actual matte lipstick that I've tried from Maybelline because I love Maybelline. I'd have to say Maybelline is probably my absolute favorite lipstick brand that I've ever tried so far. I could just pick up a Maybelline lipstick, and if I like the color, I can guarantee I like it, the formula. So this is my mixer lipstick. This one I will put on and I will mix either two of these lip glosses over the top, or I mix this with different lip liners, or I mix it over the top of liquid lipsticks, or if I've put a brown one on, say I put the e.l.f. matte lip color in Praline on and think I want it to be a tad lighter, I mix this in. So this is my like mixer shade to get that perfect pale nude. With it being slightly more of a matte, it does mix in with everything very well, and I just again really like it. I actually used this in the video that I filmed with this makeup look, and I think my lip color came out perfect. I just like this. It mixes in very well with everything, and with it being Maybelline, I know I love it. This is another product I was using off camera quite a bit, and it surprised me that I actually like it. It is the Bare Minerals Mineral Veil. It's just a very tiny one because I have like their sample kit that's got like everything in it, and it's just a very nice loose powder. It's actually very fine considering it looks a bit chunky there. I really like this to just smooth over areas that look a bit too textured and things like that. I can't use it under my eyes because it takes away the coverage of my concealer, and it just looks too like pinky. It makes everything go too dark. But like if I've got really bad texture on my chin, on my forehead, I smooth a bit of this powder over first before I put my other powders on, and it just makes it look like airbrushed, and it just smooths it all over. So that's why I really like this. And my last product is actually the Dermacol makeup cover. This one is the color 208. I originally had 207, but it's too pink for me. I needed something that was a little bit more yellow. This is actually more neutral, which is good because then I can mix it in with everything. I've also got 207 for when I need to lighten a foundation, and I also have 213, which is the color that I use when I am self-tanned. So this is $35, but I think it is highly, highly worth it. I have used this so much and I have barely even like dented in here. It looks like there's not a lot of product, but such a little bit goes such a long way. I do not use this on its own. It is way too just heavy and waxy on its own. I do not like it that way. It just looks like a flat out mask. So I mix it in with other foundations, and the one I like to mix it in with the most is actually the M.A.C Mineralize Moisture. And this goes quite waxy. I find I don't really like mixing it in with matte foundations too much. It goes a bit too chunky looking. So I mix it in with this, and then I just bake my T-zone and bake whatever. The other thing is I do have to bake using this. I can't use a translucent powder or any type of pressed powder anymore. So if you guys see me use these in a video from now on, like from today onwards, I'm going to be baking when I use it, because otherwise I cannot blend anything on top. It goes super chunky. Even with my bronzer, it lifts the makeup up. So I have to bake, and that's even if I mix this in with a matte foundation and whatever. I have to bake. It's just too like dewy and waxy for me, but when I do, it's amazing. It lasts a lot longer. This adds coverage to anything. That was my favorite products for 2018. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what your #1 product was for 2018, and if it's something I haven't tried, I may go and try it. So thank you so much for watching. Check out my social media sites, which are down below, as well as a list of all of these products. In case you missed something or you can't remember what it's called, they'll be down there. You can hit the subscribe button that's down there, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.